Ohtani's ready. Trout's ready. 3-2. He struck him out! Ohtani strikes out Trout, and Japan's back on top of the baseball world.
March 21st, 2023. The setting was Lone Depot Park in Miami, and Japan held a one-run lead with the United States having 2 outs in the final inning. This at-bat was a face-off between 2 titans of the sport, Mike Trout and Shohei Ohtani. The greatest baseball player on the planet struck out the best American hitter of his generation, and the rest was history. The images of Team Japan celebrating their 3rd World Baseball Classic title would be on the minds of every US player in the clubhouse for years to come. And a perception was created that the Americans had the bats, but they didn't have the arms. But now, with the 2026 edition of the World Baseball Classic looming, the rest of the world isn't laughing anymore. And that's because with the release of their rosters, it's clear that the United States has built a juggernaut, dead set on dominating the rest of the field. Today, we're breaking down the 2026 World Baseball Classic and why it's over before the first pitch has even been thrown. With the tough loss in 2023, the Americans will be as hungry as they've been in a long time to capture their 2nd World Baseball Classic title and first since 2017. This is America's pastime after all, and it's frankly incredible they've been as inconsistent as they have since the formation of the competition. But this time feels different, because they have some of the best players in MLB hitting their stride at just the right time, and the roster they've compiled looks unstoppable. Let's break it down and have a look at the stars in each position and why they'll be the difference makers and prevent another devastating loss. In the last edition of this tournament, the US had the best roster on paper, but there was one aspect of their game that was seen as something of a weakness, and that was the pitching. Before the tournament even started, they had pitchers that were forced to drop out due to injury, and in the case of ace Clayton Kershaw, an inability to obtain insurance due to his injury history. This meant that the US brought a core of pitchers that were all MLB quality, but lacked a dominant star pitcher that could be relied on at crucial stages. They had a good rotation, but it paled in comparison to the varied styles that Team Japan was able to field. But 2026 is a different story altogether, because the US is bringing one of the best pitching rooms the World Baseball Classic has ever seen. And it starts with their 2 aces, who are on their way to establishing themselves as the most dominant pitchers of the 21st century. The first of these 2 is Tiger star Tarik Skubal, the 2-time Cy Young and Triple Crown winner who has been a dominant force in the American League. Skubal brings one of the fastest pitches in the sport, but with an ability to add deceptive movement that makes it impossible to get a hit off him. He became the first pitcher since Pedro Martinez to win back-to-back Cy Youngs in 2025, putting him into a rarefied class and showing just how good he is. In 2025, Skubal posted a 2.21 ERA with 241 strikeouts and set postseason records for consecutive strikeouts and the winner-takes-all game strikeouts. What makes him such a crucial addition to the US roster, aside from all of that ability and the fact that he's left-handed, is that he brings something different to the mound and provides an effective counterpoint to teams like Japan, which have a trove of left-handers at bat. He is also a bona fide star, who is missing from the roster for the 2023 edition, and he can go and win games on his own with his pitching. He simply brings the X factor that was not there in 2023. Maybe the only pitcher who can challenge Skubal for the title of the best in the MLB is the next guy we'll talk about, and you probably already know who it is. I'm speaking, of course, about Paul Skenes, the Pirates' generational superstar, who is doing things at the age of 23 that we've never seen before. In only 2 seasons in the league, Skenes has taken baseball by storm and been a dominant force on a pretty terrible Pittsburgh Pirates team, winning the NL Rookie of the Year in his first season and getting a unanimous NL Cy Young Award in his second. His 1.96 ERA in 55 starts in his first 2 years is the lowest of any pitcher in the live ball era with as many starts, and he only looks set to keep breaking records as he ages. He also throws an absolute rocket and has been among the highest velocity pitchers since coming into the league.
And he's going to give him something. Only been back for a couple weeks. A 9th place tie for the most strikeouts ever by a pitcher in his first 8 starts. Well, Move up the list. I'm sorry, Mr. Jackson. Paul Skenes is for real. 102 on his final pitch of the day. 8 strikeouts for Skenes.
Skenes also brings a lethal combo of his slider and fastball that allows him to change things up but continue to be as devastating no matter what he throws at batters. He simply ticks all the boxes if you were to build a prototypical pitching ace, combining power, size, and an arsenal of pitches that will keep the batters guessing. This duo of pitchers brings a foundation that the US simply didn't have in 2023 and will provide a huge boost to their prospects of capturing the World Baseball Classic crown in 2026. But the upside in the US pitching doesn't stop there, because their bullpen is much improved from 3 years ago, and they have endgame specialists who can close out games ruthlessly. You have Mason Miller, a man who throws baseballs at speeds that baffle the mind so often that it's just not normal. A 100-mile-per-hour bullet is light work for him, and you bet that opponents will dread coming against Miller in late innings. You also have Kershaw finally joining this team, thanks to insurance no longer being an issue due to his retirement from MLB. His veteran presence and experience will be crucial towards the end of games, and he will undoubtedly be one of the leaders in the clubhouse. Kersh will also have all the motivation in the world for his last ride in baseball and will want to end his career on a high note. So, what you have is an incredible pitching room that brings 2 superstar aces, as well as a bullpen that is deadly efficient at closing out games. Just imagine you've been going up against Paul Skenes for the first 8 innings, and in comes Mason Miller to throw absolute rockets at you. No batter in the world wants to do that, but many will have to. One thing that has not changed from 2023, and arguably got even better, is the hitting. The United States undoubtedly had the strongest lineup at bat in 2023, and with the additions going into the 2026 season, should terrify any country that comes up against them. The rotation is so good that there isn't even a bottom to consider, because every single player is a threat to homer when they're at bat. But it starts with 2 players who were not present for the 2023 edition, and they bring a slugger pedigree and the ability to change the game whenever they come up to the plate. The first of these is catcher Cal Raleigh, who is hot off the heels of one of the best seasons for a catcher ever, as in 2025, he became the first catcher to hit 60 homers, as well as being the first switch hitter since the Barry Bonds and Sammy Sosa era. He led the MLB in home runs in 2025 and will demand respect from opposition pitchers every time he steps up. The danger that he brings when he is at bat will be so valuable for the United States because of the runs that he creates, whether he is hitting or because teams will try to walk him, and he will form an essential part of his team's offense. But it doesn't stop there, because the US's opponents will also have to deal with the greatest hitter of his generation in Aaron Judge. The 3-time AL MVP and 5-time Silver Slugger winner will be the leader of the team. Judge will be Captain America, setting the tone for Team USA throughout the tournament. He had another excellent year in 2025, nearing Triple Crown status with a .331 average, 53 homers, and 1.144 OPS. After missing the 2023 edition, he will bring an immeasurable boost to the roster, with both his hitting and leadership joining an already impressive lineup that now seems unstoppable. And if the combination of Raleigh and Judge isn't enough to make the US roster look incredible, they also have some of the best in the business when it comes to base running in Witt Jr. and Corbin Carroll. Both bring speed and athleticism that will ensure they get on base and get hits, while also having the ability to go for steals. And they will be certain to put up runs no matter the opponent. But what about the biggest threat to Team USA's bid for the World Baseball Classic? This is, after all, a team that has only won once in the history of the tournament, and the rest of the world has caught up to American dominance since its formation. The defending champs, Japan, will undoubtedly be one of the favorites to challenge the US, and they will bring their own star-studded lineup. They have the best player in the sport in Shohei Ohtani, but he will not be pitching at the WBC, serving only as a designated hitter, which will limit the effectiveness of Team Japan's pitching. In 2023, Ohtani's arm was crucial in relief situations, and Japan won't have that outlet to rely on late inning situations this time around. But they will still have the likes of Ohtani's teammate Yoshinobu Yamamoto on the mound, Seiya Suzuki, and sluggers like Munetaka Murakami and Kazuma Okamoto. But this Japanese team simply doesn't pose the same threat to the US as it did 3 years ago without Ohtani pitching. The Dominican Republic will also feel like they have a point to prove after a disappointing 2023 World Baseball Classic, where they were unable to advance from pool play. and they bring a roster filled with ability but lacking in depth compared to other favorites. Juan Soto is one of the biggest stars in baseball and will undoubtedly be a big factor towards DR's success. But will he provide enough to lift the bottom end of the batting order? Vladimir Guerrero will also be a big name and important presence and will hope to bring hits and runs to a team seeking to exorcise the ghosts of 2023. This will mark Cardinals legend Albert Pujols' first go as the manager for the Dominican Republic. Perhaps his knowledge and leadership will provide an added boost. But again, this is another traditional powerhouse that just doesn't look like they have the depth in either hitting or pitching to pose a serious threat to the United States. Their shortcomings in 2023 may haunt them, with an advancement from pool play considered the bare minimum. After the brutal loss to Japan in 2023, it finally seems like the United States is ready to treat the World Baseball Classic as a matter of national pride and play like it's the World Series. This is America's pastime. It seems unacceptable that they have won this tournament only once, and 2026 will provide the perfect platform to right their wrongs and dominate as they feel they should. Despite having a monster of a roster that will be matched by no one as far as depth goes, there are never any easy games in an international tournament like this. Baseball is a funny sport, and anything can happen. But if this US roster plays up to their talent on paper, it should end only one way. And that's with confetti raining down on the boys in red, white, and blue. So, is this the greatest baseball team ever assembled? Or will Japan find a way without Ohtani on the mound? Comment USA if you think the gold is coming back to Miami. The World Baseball Classic starts on March 5th. Good luck to the rest of the world. You're gonna need it.